right now. This is Ticker News Insight.
Hello and welcome back to Ticker News Insight, where we are looking to focus on the best of business with clever people joining us from right around the world. I'm your host, Mike Loder, and to our latest story. And now we are following the CBD clinical trials sector. There have seemingly been some stumbles in the trial programs by larger pharmaceutical groups over the past few weeks, with one company failing to achieve a statistically significant difference between a placebo and CBD in a phase 3 trial evaluating low doses of CBD for sleep disturbance. Enter Avecho, a group headed towards a phase 3 trial to investigate the effectiveness of its proprietary CBD soft gel capsules in the treatment of insomnia, an important one out there. CEO Dr. Paul Gavin is here to tell us more about it all. It's good to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, can you detail what's been happening in the CBD space at the moment in Australia in the past few months? Just give us a bit of a lay of the land, if you will.
Sure. So there's a bunch of companies, including ourselves, that have been pursuing phase 3 clinical trials looking at CBD for indications like insomnia. Now, the problem with indications like insomnia is it's very susceptible to the placebo effect, which essentially means that even if you don't get the drug, if you get a pretend medicine, you think it works. And so the real difficulty in those studies is actually proving the difference between a placebo and the actual drug itself. And so what's happened in the last couple of months is 2 companies have announced the results of their phase 3 clinical trials and shown that they could show no difference from the drug compared to the placebo. Which has depressed the market a fair bit as suddenly, CBDs, everyone's a bit skeptical.
Yeah, right, and that skepticism, of course, echoes throughout
Correct.
the markets. So let's talk about dosage and, of course, making sure people get the right amount of what they need in order to, relieve the symptoms without it being, I suppose, harmful, I guess. But
we're all chasing this specific opportunity with the TGA, and the TGA have said in order to qualify for this opportunity, you can only use a very low dose of CBD, so a maximum dose of about 150 milligrams per day. Mm-hmm. That's pretty low. But companies like us that have technologies that increase the absorption of the drug can make their 150 milligram equivalent to someone else's 300 milligram or whatever. So we can go in the low dose sector and deliver doses of the drug that are much higher to try and guarantee a better clinical outcome.
Absolutely. Okay, so Avecho is a leader in the CBD space, I understand, and you guys are determined to prove the full capabilities of the molecule. First step for a sleep indication. Where's the R&D right now? How are you guys looking?
Yeah, so look, we've been on it for 3 years. I mean, we're a biotech by background. We're not from medicinal cannabis. We've been doing drug development for years and years and years.
Fantastic.
CBD is just another drug to us. Mm-hmm. And so really, we've gone through the formulation optimization process. We've developed this thing with increased absorption. We've turned it into a pharmaceutical soft gel capsule. We've got all the manufacturing and the CMC work and the stability. We've done the animal studies, we've got the first clinical trial away, and now we're just about to go into the pivotal phase 3 clinical trial, which is the huge inflection point and re-rate for any biotech company.
And of course, while you might be bringing it to our attention today, it's exciting times for you and the group. So tell me about the rigorous commitment that you guys have to clinical trial design, and I guess how that differentiates from other people on the market who are doing the same sort of thing.
Yeah, because of this placebo effect and because of the way sleep studies work, they are very difficult to design. And so you can't cut any corners. And so our design, because again, that's what we do for a living, clinical trial design, we've built studies that using the FDA guidance documents and the European guidance documents and the 3 most recently approved FDA insomnia drugs. And we've taken those studies and we've taken all the features out of those that will add the most value. And we've built a really rigorous study that compared to the other guys in the space now, we've got over twice as many patients as they do. So when you're expecting a small effect size, you need a lot of patients to see the effect. We've got a higher inclusion criteria, so we've got a bigger scope to see a change. We've got mechanisms in there to control for the placebo effect. Mm-hmm. We've got a longer dosage period. We've got an interim analysis. So what we've built is a very, very robust pharmaceutical clinical trial that'll stand up to the FDA and the Europeans, not just the Australian TGA opportunity.
Absolutely, and of course we've seen Australia recently allow psychedelics as part of clinical trials and things like that, so I have high hopes for what's going to happen ahead for people suffering with insomnia. But do you have any other key learnings, perhaps for investors, that you'd like to highlight for those looking to jump in, get involved, people who see this as a shining light in an otherwise dark space?
Yeah, look, I would tell them just, despite the recent failures, do not be deterred. So the huge pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for CBD still remains intact, as long as you can prove that it works in a phase 3 clinical trial. So just frame of reference, there's one FDA-approved CBD product on the planet, It's called Epidiolex. It's for rare childhood epilepsy conditions, so it's rarely prescribed, and it was acquired for $7.2 billion in 2021. So if you can prove it works for insomnia, you can register it with the TGA, there's a huge win, not just for us, but for anyone that's successful enough to do it. And the flow on for that, though, is just pick your horse. So really, you know, if you're going to invest in a company that's doing pharmaceutical drug development with CBD, make sure they have done pharmaceutical drug development before and it's not their first rodeo.
Paul, very well said by you.
No
It's all
worries.
the time I've got for you, but thank you so much for telling us all about what you and the team at Avecho are up to. Exciting times ahead.
Thank you.
And of course, thank you to all of you for tuning in. I've been your host, Mike Loader. I hope you've learned something from our discussion today. I, of course, look forward to seeing you again very soon. Be well.